Next, Honorable Ravi Karunanayake, you have 15 minutes.
Thank you, Deputy.
Before your speech, Honorable members propose to the Honorable Asser to take the chair. Alhamdulillah. Okay, Honorable Ravi Karunanayake.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to contribute in the
I hope you know you have 15 minutes.
Before. Honorable Sir, you could see that this is a very clear case of mishandling of foreign policy. Where is the whiz kid who went to Geneva and spoke on behalf of the President? Is he here? If you had a foreign minister, either give him the task or sack him. You can't be having one there, one here, and when the things are over, then he is here to take the responsibility of what has gone on. Irrespective, that is the misguided handling of the foreign policy by your government. This has been not the first instance. This has been done in the economic area. This has been done in all areas. So that's the forte of this government. Let me come back to the issue that is there. There was a resolution that was put forward by the US. It succeeded in Geneva. Why did it happen? You had Norway that came and co-sponsored this. Was it accepted? They were a facilitator in the peace process. You should have been able to speak to them as to why and how could they have been co-sponsoring this resolution. We are totally against that type of thing because they were a facilitator to the peace process that was going on. Now, going on further, this was the first time a resolution has been brought against this country. There have been many instances before, but never has it come where a resolution was brought against the country. In 1987, there was a very tense situation. The Indians basically wanted to express their presence in Sri Lanka, and then was the airdrops and all those things. But finally, the president of this country was able to get the Indian support, and we had the Indian army coming to fight a Sri Lankan war. That was where it came closest to them. But remember, this particular thing, eradicating of terrorism, had the international support that was given. The United States of America, the European Union, Canada, America, Australia, all of them proscribed LTTE. They banned the funding of those funding in those relevant countries. So all of them had a stake in eradicating terrorism. 3 years since the terrorism is over, they also have a call as the international players to see that there is democracy being practiced in Sri Lanka. Remember, Sri Lanka is a multicultural, multi-religious society. Sri Lanka is made up of Sinhalese, Tamils, Muslims, Malays and Burghers. So all of them make the Sri Lanka identity. So as a result, extremism doesn't help to bring peace into a particular situation. So on this particular instance, there has been the foreign policy being handled in a very unprofessional way. The foreign minister is there. The problem that is there is 2, 3, 4 people that we're handling. Now you go to Geneva and say one thing, say that LLRC we are not implementing. Mahinda Samarasinghe says he's implementing, and then you have Sajin was saying yesterday the LLRC is going to be implemented. Now the US ambassador in the Human Rights Council says the main reason for this resolution being brought against Sri Lanka was the non-implementation of the LLRC. So there has been contradictory signals that have been given. So this is what I say, the foreign policy has been handled very unprofessionally. Remember the success that was there in 2006, Mangala Samaravira. He was able to get the entire international community supporting him. You had Mr. President, Mr. Mahinda Rajapaksa being in Geneva, supporting the 2006 resolution, and the entire world came behind Sri Lanka at that particular moment. Where has been the success been used from there onwards? That is why I say this has been a wrongly handled foreign policy situation. Look at the Indian situation. Never have they voted against us. Why have they voted against? Foreign Minister, you have a responsibility to this House to explain as to how you managed to get the Indians against us on this instance. They have been trying to intercede to the very last moment. I have got a certain document which shows even among the 47 countries, India tried to intercede on March 1st, trying to say as to why this should be brought against Sri Lanka. Then from there onwards, what happened? The first instance that was there was the Indians sacrificed their lives, the army people that were there fighting in 1987. So they had a right to come in here and speak of. Not that they have a right to interfere in Sri Lanka affairs, but they have to get that done. Now see the intense situation that is there, the Chinese interaction that is coming in the economic areas. Now, for the first time, the Indians have opened up the coastal shipping for international shipping lines to go around the coastal area under the cabotage, which basically is a direct attack on Sri Lanka. So these are the signs that you should look at as to how you have got to ensure that India is brought back into our side. Now, make it a pera kata karapu champika amatuma බොහොම ඕනේ කමින් ජාතිකත්වය ගැන කතා කර කිව්වා එල්ලේ රාජි උගත් පාඩම් කොමිසමේ දේවල් තියනවා කියලා. මම අහනවා එතුමාගෙන් මේකේ තියෙන එක කොන්දේසක් හරි එක වගන්තියක්. මේ වැරදි කරු අයට කරුණාකර දනුවම් දිය යුතුයි හරි නීති ඉදිරියේ ගේන්න ඕනේ කියලා. ඔබතුමාලා මේ රජගෙදර ඉන්න කේපී ඇයි ඔබතුමාලා ඉන්දියාට දෙන්නේ නැත්තේ? ඉන්දියාව ඉල්ලලා තියෙනවා කේපීව මේ වැරදි කරු කළා තිබෙන නිසා කරුණාකර ඉන්දියාට බාර දෙන්න කියලා. මෙන්න මේ නිසාද ඉන්දියාව අපිට විරුද්ධව ඡන්දය දුන්නේ. අවුරුදු 3-4කට ඉස්සල්ලා ඉල්ලපු දේ ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කිරීමද මේ කාණ්ඩුවේ දරදඬු මතය නිසාද කෝ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ නැව් 19 කෝ මේ කෝටි US ඩොලර් බිලියන් 1.2 අතර තියෙන සල්ලි ප්‍රමාණය මේවා පාවිච්චි කරා නම් මේක ඉන්දියාවේ ඉල්ලීම අනුව මේ ත්‍රස්තවාදය දුන්නා නම් කිසි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. යුද්ධය මේ රටේ සාර්ථකත්වයට ගෙනල්ලා යුද්ධය නැති කරන්න උදව් කරපු සරත් ෆොන්සේකා හිරගෙදර ඉන්නකොට ඒ වගේම සල්ලි එකතොට කේපී රජගෙදර ඉන්නකොට ඉන්දියාව ඉල්ලනකොට ඒක දෙන්නේ නැතිව ප්‍රතිවිපාකයක්ද මේ ඉන්දියාව විරුද්ධ ඡන්ද දීලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා අපි මේවා බැලිය යුතුයි. And also, Minister, you should see from the start of this last 3-4 years, you got the Swedish embassy, the ambassador wanted, the foreign minister wanted to come here, you stopped him. Sweden closed the embassy. Then you had the Canadian opposition leader wanted to come into Sri Lanka. He was stopped. He was sent back after landing in Karunanayake. What happened? You had the Canadian team coming in, and they were the first country that basically took the Sri Lankans on. You had a young